When you see something, say something. 1-800-1-THOUGHT. I could be a moocher from the welfare state, or your teacher who tries to indoctrinate. A socialist who says the stars and stripes aren't great. Keep your ears open and your eyes stay peeled. But whatever you do, make sure your lips aren't sealed. When you see something, say something. Pick up the phone and make the call. When you see something, say something. Soups make the world a safe place for us all. And we'll be the people who don't trust them.
What's going on, everybody?
What's up, man?
I'm starting to get those clips down now that I got this new thing. I'm having fun with it. That was a fun intro to make.
This reminds me emotions. What was that show what was it Peter Jackson did? Was it Peter Jackson back in the 90s?
Meet the Feebles.
Yeah. Oh my, that's what this reminds me of.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, I didn't even think about it till just. I wish you had some like Meet the Feebles video to throw on top of this.
Oh yeah, that would, maybe we'll look it up or something here.
Yeah.
Or I'll have to get it for next time or something because.
Yeah.
I thought that clip. I was originally going to go with the. For everybody, thanks for checking this video out. There will be spoilers, so if you haven't seen The Boys season 4 yet, go watch it and then come back and watch it. I'm not going to spoil too crazy, but just everything that's important.
If you haven't seen it, it's totally fine. You are in the right place. We're going to spoil it in all the right ways.
Yeah, let's save you the trouble of watching.
Yeah.
It's a sled. What's going on, Texas Beast?
Yeah,
Happy
what's up, man?
After S3. Yeah, I mean, season 3. I gotta say this, and actually, this is a good place to put this out there. Well, if it's already rotten, then you can't spoil it, right? But that's the point. That's the key, though. It's not rotten. From the beginning of this season, I'm hearing all this talk about how bad it is, how horrible, it's so woke, and oh my god! And here we go, spoiler: Frenchie's gay. Ah man, why'd they make Frenchie gay? I was just kind of like, well, I'll get to that here in a minute. But I watched it anyways because I like this show, and man, I gotta say, at first I thought this is actually one of the better seasons they've done yet. Because there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in this season. Then there's stuff like Frenchie that is annoying. There's a lot of talk. There's a lot of on the nose. What do you call it? Political bullshit. They don't get very creative with it.
Yeah. So the thing about and for one, I thought I was going to be the one providing a dissenting opinion. I was going to be the other guy in the conversation because I kind of like it. And typically I'm not fond of shows like this. It's a little out there for me in some places. Some of those scenes are a little bit more for me. All in all, I did like it. And I a lot of the things that I've heard about that people get upset about, I'm like, oh man, I'm not going to clutch my pearls over that one. Yeah, no, what were you saying? I completely forgot. I lost track.
No, we got Texas Beast saying he got uncomfy in season 3. I'm guessing that's from the party scene. But there's oh my god, season 3 had so many scenes that were pretty bad. Yeah, I don't know. The dick scene,
yes,
the mini man or whatever. What do they call him? I don't know what they called him in the show, but he's basically Ant-Man. That was
because they did the same thing in it wasn't The Boys. They did the same thing they made the same joke in Guardians of Godolka. They did the exact same joke as that.
You know what, though? That was on par with everything else they've ever done in that show, which is kind of the reason I put, have they gone too far this time now? Because everyone was like, whoa, that was pretty fucked up. But politics, oh my stars and garters, that's too far.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's where I went off the rails. You were talking about the politics of it. And they do. They start to address direct politics in this one versus the imaginary stuff that they have alluded to in prior seasons. And again, Like, I wasn't clutching my pearls over any of the political commentary in this season.
You know, I will say, I don't mind if you want to throw some politics in there, but get creative with it. You don't have to directly use terminology, and you don't have to call out specific people. And that's just bad writing. It's lazy writing. Starlighters, Homelanders, or Home Teamers, or whatever, that's fine. Like, that's whatever. But when you start saying conservative, right wing, and here's another one at the end when she's like, "We're gonna make America, safe again. We're gonna make America, super again." I was like, "Oh man, if you weren't on the nose already, you just like took a dump all over half your audience with that." I was almost.
Yeah, the thing about it though, that's expected. That's exactly. We all know that the soups are the conservatives. They're the Republicans. They're the right wing. We all know this. All she's doing is just spouting off stuff that we already knew. And I'm speaking as again, like I'm speaking as like a Catholic here, and somebody who comes from a strong family lineage of conservatism and all of that stuff. Like, the part that got me, like, I found the ice skating scene thing that they were doing, and a lot of the religious stuff that they talk about.
Oh yeah,
I find that kind of like it's tasteless. A little borderline for me. Yeah, and yeah, some of that stuff that's how it comes across. It comes across as tasteless. It's like, I know, you have to make that joke. I get it, but
that actually brings
I don't know how much of that I can take.
That brings me to a really interesting point that I was, to me, it's interesting. I don't know if it's interesting to anybody else, but the missing the mark. Obviously, we've got some, I guess you could say, woke writers. Somebody, I think I heard somewhere it was Seth Rogen wrote it or something. I'm not sure.
He's one of the writers, producers, or something.
One of the writers. So that brings me to this.
He might be a producer. I don't know if he's a writer.
Firecracker. This is a perfect example of how I guess the ideology won't even allow them to properly portray the people that they are trying to obviously portray. She's supposed to be a conservative podcaster, but let's be real, dude. For one, you're right about that the Christian thing, like where they're not like deliberately trying to make Christians look like idiots or something, right? Or bigots or whatever. Missed the mark. But right here, right there, first of all, I'm afraid any real conservative, like extreme conservative or MAGA or whatever they were trying to make her, she's going to show a lot more cleavage. She's going to be showing a lot more skin. That costume is a mixture of, well, we got to portray her as something, but we got to, keep in mind she's a person, so we can't have her all, dolled up. And here's the other thing. There's no way in hell that you would rise in popularity as some kind of conservative Republican streamer or whatever as woman. No man is going to listen to what this woman has to say. That's why all these podcasts are men talking, because men are going to listen. I'm thinking like there are some that are fun to watch, but I don't give a shit what they have to say for the most part.
I'm wondering how that. I don't know. I don't know if it is. Like I completely see where you're coming from on that, but it does make me curious. Like, it would be really interesting if that was, because there is no example of that in real life that they're referring to. Like, they're making up a thing
for good reason.
With they're making jokes about influencers more than anything. And not that any of them, because there's no television example of that. But it would be interesting to see.
They made her a redhead and everything that, like, we're all complaining. Why are we race swapping and gender swapping, the redheads? Why are they gentriciding them? They made her a redhead on purpose, but then, first of all, they wouldn't even give her like a really sexy outfit. And two, she would be an e-thought at best in real life. Like, it's not believable. The whole time she was talking on her little podcast, I was like, well, this seems like it could be a fun show. She's supposed to be like, what, Alex Jones? But no, nobody would listen to her because let's be real. She's going to get her ideas from a man anyways. Just send me to the man. I don't want to, middle ground it. I'm just kidding, everybody. Not really.
And kind of. Canceled.
Yeah, right. I'm not even monetized. What do I care? But so that's my thoughts on Firecracker. I thought her character was interesting enough. Not horrible. I wasn't offended or anything by her. Like, oh, how dare they portray it? I'm just like, that's an example of them not really understanding who they're even trying to portray or not putting enough thought into it, which is a lot of this season was they didn't really think about it that hard, which is a lot of Seth Rogen's work. I don't know how much input he had, but that's a lot of his work. Not very impressive. Here we go. What do we got? Yeah, conservative women embrace being eye candy to a point, and that's what I'm talking about right there. Like, there's a point where like Simpson and everything get it's weird. I don't understand that world, but there are a lot of like girl streamers that I love. I think they're awesome to watch. They're fun, but when they start talking about stuff that I'm supposed to listen to and think about. Which most of them don't even bother. But I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I'm going to have to think about that. I'm going to have to go see what Joe Rogan says about that. You know what I mean?
No, I got to disagree with that one because I completely understand where you're coming from. But on the other end of the scale, so like I do on my other YouTube channel, I do fishing content. So I'm involved with a lot of fishing, YouTube creators and stuff like that. And one of them that I'm fond of, that I'm a fan of, is Darcizzle Offshore. And she does, wears a lot of bikinis and stuff in her outfit, in her content stuff that she does. And I'm buddies with her boyfriend. I'm not like me and Darcy aren't so much buddies, but I'm buddies with her boyfriend. So I understand what they're doing on the same lines, where they're trying to, they have a real obvious hook with that. But on the other side of it is her content is also really good in the wintertime. When she's not doing that, she's wearing like full foul weather gear, and you're cutting through that crap and getting good fishing content. Like she shows you stuff. I learned stuff from watching them, stuff that I didn't know. So yeah. You do have that element out there where you can like learn from from that kind of content. Not saying like that is not the norm by any stretch of the imagination.
I mean, that Star Wars girl, I like watching her show. I like watching her. I actually, of all of the streamers, the female streamers, I think that Star Wars girl is actually one that I admire. I think she actually has wisdom, and I actually do like what she has to say. And so, in that regard, she's kind of like a fluke, right? There's also other female streamers that I'm watching. And just because I find them funny, entertaining, just cool. Mandy Summers is another one that I like. I think she's awesome. But Mandy doesn't really go off on like telling people, how to think or like, philosophy.
Well, anybody that's telling you how that's different. Anybody who's like telling you what you need to do, how you need to think. Like, it's one thing to be a resource. It's another to be telling people what they need to be doing, how they need to be living their lives. That's completely different.
Well, I don't think that's what I meant exactly. But like you've got, streamers that you like what they have to say. And then of course, people want to say echo chamber, but it's just like, I kind of like what this guy has to say and his thoughts on things, That's kind of where I'm going with that whole thing. Not so much tell me what to believe, point me in the direction and fire. Texas B says, agreed. They can rock the camo and the firearms too. Yeah, there's a couple. There are a couple.
I like that. That needs to be like somebody's byline for their, like if you have a chick who does hunting stuff, that needs to be the byline on their channel.
Got a bug flying around here. But so that's my whole thing. Firecracker, honestly, would actually probably be really popular if there was a streamer like that.
You know what? Hot take on that. I'm gonna kind of come out here and admit that, like right now, this season, Firecracker's my favorite character.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I find her scenes so like the dramatic elements of what's going on behind the scenes for her, to me, are this, like the stakes are a little bit higher, I think. She has like the human element, the human, not the, but like the humane element of like, she came from like the trash background, and you can see her trying to like really pick herself up, where she's clawing her way up to the top as best she can, and she's willing to do anything, like anything to get there. And by anything, I'm not even talking about sexual stuff. I'm talking about farther than that. Like, so there, to me, there's like that, you know, just the elements of that. They all have to, but some of them, like if you look at some of the stuff, like what Butcher is going through, it's like I love Butcher as much as everybody else, but it's like, it's just, and especially his combination with that guy from Walking Dead, or Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Like, I love that combination. I love the two of them, and I love Butcher as much as everybody else does. But it's also like, I find it hard to believe that he is so hardcore and so like he will do anything and go to any length, but he also has a heart for his son. And but you know, it's just like, it's just, the expanse is too wide between the two different halves of him.
I think Butcher's my favorite character. Obviously, I mean, he's the one who's got the mission, right? Huey's mission kind of like, actually, Huey's mission was over like halfway through this season when he kind of made peace with A-Train. Yeah. Like his whole mission was already kind of dying out, anyways. But his motivation. I agree. So
Huey's a good character, but that arc is complete.
His character was cool, but yeah, his arc was complete. In the comic book, man, and this is actually talking about Huey. This brings up another thing I was going to mention. Huey's dad. In
that was weird.
That was like rushed, pointless.
It was rushed.
Why? Just leave the guy. I know they wanted Simon Pegg more in the show. I don't know. But he also they'd get him out of there. I don't know. Let's give him one last hurrah. But why is everybody taking V? It was like everybody signed on to this show saying like, as long as I get to, have superpowers at some point, I'm totally down. Because that's the point where we're at now. Everybody's had superpowers.
Yeah, it's the most accessible drug in that entire universe.
Which just like a short time ago, it was supposed to be like a big secret that they were even on this drug. Yeah. And then that got revealed, and now you can get it anywhere apparently, even though it's so rare.
Like everybody's got the key to Homelander's little cabinet to go and get it whenever they need.
Yeah, right.
It's just right under the breast milk and the pubic hair.
And the pubic hair. Just move that out of the way and get some V.
Not gonna lie, IRL, that is an excellent means of like home defense from now on. If you have something, you could leave $1,000 on your dresser and just put a jar of pubic hair on top of it, and you will be good to go. You can leave it on the sidewalk.
Leave it everywhere. In fact, you know what? Trim that shit and just leave it on the front door and the windows. You're safe.
Tape it on the door handle.
Yeah. Like James Bond in that movie where he like licks it and then puts it on the windowsill. Yeah.
Oh my God, I need to use that as a scene for a movie, like trying to do the spy element. And like, I need a hair and they have to get pubic hair. Doink.
There is one thing though that's kind of cool about Simon Pegg, and I think maybe why they gave him some extra time on this show was, do you know in the comic book they designed Texas Beast is like, So Simon Pegg was actually who they designed in the comic book the Huey character after, and if you look at it, yeah, I mean it's pretty close. But by the time the show got picked up, Simon Pegg was way too old to be playing Huey, so they gave him kind of like an honorary character, the dad character and everything. Made him kind of important.
Yeah. I didn't know that. That's kind of cool.
And it's cool that they brought him in, try to get some, I don't know, like develop Huey's character and his relationship with his dad, which we haven't really seen a whole lot since season 1. But man, that ain't it, dude. Like, I don't think that was a good way to do it. And then closure with his mom too. Like, let's just wrap this whole character in a bubble real quick. Let's just put a bow on it.
Yep. They licked it and put that bow on. They got the HEB bow to wrap that whole thing. They went through that entire thing in one episode where it's like, oh, He in the entire episode,
he's dying.
And it's almost like 3 minutes in between as they're switching between the different scenes, the different characters. It's like 3 minutes where they're skipping from them in the hospital to the other guy to them back in the hospital, and it's literally like just like he's dying, he's dying, he's gonna die. Let's go get the V.
We got like I don't know, 5 minutes, 7 minutes. We got to fill. Give me side story now. Like there we go, and they just threw that in there. And I gotta say,
they filmed that in an afternoon.
The scene where he's like running through the hospital, like brain dead or whatever.
Yeah,
but that was just a weird. That's so weird. What are they advocating for? Like euthanasia? What is? We know they're political, so what the hell are they even promoting here? Like, don't let them die slow. Don't let them. They're brain dead. There's got to be some motive behind that ridiculous.
I'm guessing it's something along the lines of like to go through the grieving process appropriately. Like there's no magic pill. You know what I mean? Like sometimes people just die.
I mean,
and
that
it
would have
sucks.
been fine
and
if
you
his
just go
dad
through the
was sick.
suck, because if they don't, it's going to suck more.
It'd have been better if they had like drugged
if
that out over 2 seasons, and like finally the episode comes where
it had a little bit more impact if he had been going through this. But man, that would have sucked going through 3 or 4 or 5 episodes of Simon Pegg like wish-washing back and forth, to make it a humane, like something that you care about kind of a deal, where it's like one day he's fine and happy, and then like in the next episode he's having a bad day. This is going to be a rough one. He accidentally kicked the dog and he doesn't remember it.
Yeah, that's so weird. That I wasn't a fan of that whole thing. That whole
I wasn't
a good
either.
excuse to like pull the plug.
They were going for the sympathy thing. That's what it was. They weren't trying to get I don't think it was a politically motivated, charged thing they were trying to say. I think they were simply trying, like, they did the math. 1 + 1 = 2. This is how we're going to make it an emotional, this is going to be the emotional roller coaster for the episode.
And they have no idea how to tell a story then, because, I mean, I think on the whole I did like this season. It was like, just like Rick and Morty got weird. But aside from the overtly political shit, I do think there were a lot of goods in this show. That was not one of them. That was just like rushed.
No, I wasn't.
And I didn't feel anything. Like, I was just like, oh, this whole thing wasn't to save the dad. This was just to justify killing the dad. Okay. Well, I mean, they kind of boned the show with a few other things, like with Frenchie. This whole time, there has never been, to me, when we even had this like argument a couple weeks ago when I was first started watching it, and I was like, what the fuck are they doing with Frenchie? They never once like threw out there that he like any kind of inclination that he was gay or bi or whatever. In fact,
I completely disagree with this point. I completely disagree.
Well, the fact that they went through all this time, there's never been an inclination of it. Then this season, all of a sudden, they're going to throw it out there. I understand if you need like an extra bit of story arc for the character, like, oh, what are we going to do with them? You got some boxes to check. Okay, we'll make him gay. Except we already knew he was like in love with Kamiko. We knew that, and then they didn't rush through the gay scene or anything like that, but they did just kind of destroy it. So let's just present it and then destroy it, and then give you what you knew all along. He was in love with her after all, and they were supposed to be together.
So to me, again, that's not even like a LGBTQ plus thing.
He did
that. I don't. Okay, so okay. For one, what they're doing with that entire thing is they're trying to create an emotional response. I don't think there's a political agenda in any of it. I think that they're trying to make you feel sympathy for the character and probably trying to check a few boxes for that kind of stuff as well. However, you say that there's never any inclination that he might be bi. And I was saying it weeks ago when we had this conversation. I said weeks ago, he's not gay, he's bi. There's a little bit of a difference in there. I know we're like splitting hairs with that and stuff. I did say that. And the reason I'm saying that is because he is French and they will fuck anything.
All right. Maybe in a lazy way. But I don't know.
Well, he's French. I'm assuming that's what you're referring to.
All right, I'll give you that much. You know, I mean, it's a spectrum, right? Everything's a big rainbow, which I resent. I resent the algorithm for saying that my original thumbnail, which was lots of rainbows and the boys, said that was a horrible thumbnail. So I went with this thumbnail. Anyways, so I was not happy with the Frenchie thing because they just brought it back around and agreed with me in the end. And so it was like that kind of just makes that whole aspect, that whole scene, that whole thing they did pointless. Again, another pointless thing in this season.
Well, here's the question. So they made it very dramatic. They're going for the emotional thing there because of the whole thing about how he killed the boyfriend's dad or family and stuff. And he's going through the emotional turmoil of
that was great.
He loves this guy. I don't think it was. Now, here's
like killed the family. I don't know why they had to make him gay. I'm not like pissed about it. I'm just like.
So here's the defining element on that, though. So he went so dramatic where he's like, I'm going to go to prison and I'm just going blah, blah, being all like fucking crybaby about it. And that's fine. If this gets brought up again, if they mention this, if he has to continue this turmoil next season, then we are going for a more long-term emotional haul. But if we never hear about this again, that was lazy. That was a lazy attempt that spanned the course of 2 episodes, maybe 3.
Yeah, maybe a little
they
more than
just
that.
ham-fisted it into 3 episodes, and that was the end of all the emotional torment he goes through from killing that guy's family. Then screw that.
You know what? That's it right there. The next season, the boyfriend, hear me out. The boyfriend gets a hold of some V and becomes a superhero, and then hunts down Frenchie to get revenge. But now
the boyfriend was kind of a wuss anyway, but.
Actually, that can't happen because didn't he get arrested or some shit in the last episode? I don't understand exactly what's going on in that last scene. Because
now he's with the Soups. Now Frenchie's been mind washed into being one of the Soup
That was a mind
supporters.
wash, right?
Yeah. Gary V, you a Gary Vaynerchuk fan?
Wait, who's Gary Vayner?
Gary Vaynerchuk is he's a business spokesperson, speaker, and he's awesome. You got to check out Gary V. You'll like Gary V. You're probably not going to want to see all of his content. It's similar, but he is fun to watch. He'll tell you everything. You're like, fuck yeah, fuck. You get excited about everything he says.
So he'll say things that I agree with. I like it.
It's all business oriented, but yeah. And the guy's he's really ballsy, and he does stuff like. He goes out on stage and he had sweaters made with his social security number. Just a big middle finger to the world.
Okay. He's not worried about identity theft.
Yeah.
I never heard of that guy.
Gary V. He's a badass.
I'll check him out. I don't know. That's pretty cool. The big reveal. Oh, you know what? Hold on a second. I was going to pull up Homelander earlier. Thoughts on Homelander this season?
Oh, he said gay V. I'm blind. I can't see the chat very well. So I saw Gary V and went off on that entire tangent. And I apologize. You said gay V. I'm sorry. I'm thrown off now.
Did they do anything new with Homelander? Same old shit. Development?
Yeah, I mean, they've kind of, as far as development goes, he's gone as far as he can go.
He let us run with it. There you go. You got a new guy to subscribe to. I mean, I liked how brutal that shit was where he went back to his childhood people. That was kind of fun. That was interesting. Watching him kind of get revenge. I thought they already did that with his character when he went back and met. So it's kind of redundant. But
yeah, but where do you go with him?
Season?
He's already the penultimate bad guy character. How do you make him worse? Do you take him through some kind of a storyline where it's you try to humanize him now because they've already done a little bit of that?
You can't make him worse. I mean, I guess you could always up the ante on that. They did in the comic book. He was eating babies, although technically that wasn't him. In the comic book in that scene, but But
I wonder if they're not.
That's a whole other thing to talk about.
I'm going to make a quick prediction here. I don't know where they're going. I know they like to get crazy about stuff, but I predict because of where he stands, like as far as like his character and what possible arcs there could be for the Homelander character. I am betting, like I don't see how you can make him more of a bad guy. I don't see how he has any kind of character development. He's going to plateau as a character unless they do something. So it's like, what are they going to do? I suspect that they are going to kill him and then bring him back or have a clone. And if they do something like that, they may try to humanize the clone. They may try to make the clone the baby eater. Obviously, like in the comic books, they had a lot of stuff with his clones that they're not really touching on in the show. So I think that's a possibility. They got rid of the biggest one.
They've already gotten rid of the biggest spoiler in the comic book. The biggest clone, in my opinion,
Black Noir.
Black Noir was a clone. And he was the one that was eating the babies and trying to make Homelander look bad. But he was a piece of shit, so he didn't even know if he had done any of that shit or not. I haven't read the entire series, but I did read like important moments. I read like first 2 issues and 3 issues. I don't remember how many issues. Maybe 3 or 4. The problem with the comic book is there's not that much action. There's like these lulls where like the whole issue is just talking. It's like, man, this is not keeping my interest. And the artwork was all right, but anyway, I think the show is compared to the comic from what I've seen. I do like the way the show's going. I think they've made some smart choices with some of the characters.
You know, if you have a problem with the boys, I bet there's more coming along with that because they like to switch things around. But and that's kind of the thing with the boys is love it or hate it, it is different. Like not so different that it's like that other cartoon show that's real similar.
Invincible.
You know, it touches on Invincible is the same kind of it's the same concept. But you are not going like you're going to find this sort of like the way they change directions and they really try to what's that called where they try to take you in a direction you don't expect. And there are very few shows out there that are unpredictable in that manner. I mean, there's maybe Game of Thrones, like that new one, although I'm not even seeing that right now. Like that's still like not unpredictable. And outside of that, everything else on TV is like, I mean, some of these story arcs you can predict a season in advance.
I kind of did predict something. The way they were doing this show, it wasn't hard to predict where they were going to go with it at the end. And all the way through with Butcher and everybody. There was a few things that I thought were weird, like with Homelander. Like, can't he see through walls?
I don't know if that's a superpower he has. I know they try to follow the Superman thing, but I don't remember that one.
There were a lot of scenes where he's like staring at a wall because he can see what's going on the other side of the wall. But in this season,
I thought he could hear it.
Oh, you think it was the hearing? I don't know. I got the idea that it was he was looking through the wall, but that Huey was like up in that vent and he didn't see. If he can see through walls, then he missed that one because Huey was like crawling around, spying on him, and you know how many times that might be a loophole. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he can't see through walls. Maybe he can just hear really, really good. But that's just a point I had made a mental note of because I was kind of curious about that. Thought I'd mention it. What was your favorite? He can
definitely hear because there was that one character that he killed, like based on hearing or something. I don't even remember what the deal was.
That might make sense because his son could hear. That might be what it is because the son made a mention that he could hear you. You know, like he can hear everything that woman whispered in Butcher's ear.
Yeah.
So that might be it. That makes sense. I don't know. I guess so. I guess that is it. So, what was your favorite scene of this season?
Yeah, that's a tough one because it's a lot of scenes that are so cringe. Like they're like, oh, like I feel dirty watching this. Those are the ones that stand out, and they are absolutely not my favorite. Um,
Hold on a second. Can you hold on a second and keep talking?
all right, yeah. I'm
Sorry,
trying
man.
to think. Not a problem. I'm trying to think about why. I can't even think of a time on the previous ones. What is up, BJ? What are you doing, man? Good to see you, dude. Appreciate you coming hanging out with us. And yeah, Texas B saying that it becomes predictable with the politics. And dude, you are not wrong about that. Like, it's not even that it's predictable, and it is, but it's like the politics make it it's like you don't grab anybody based on your politics. You know, they're not grabbing me based on politics. More often than not, even though I'm going to play devil's advocate on this one, it will drive me away when you are making statement. It's not even siding with the quote unquote other side. Like, that's not even an issue. I support free speech. Like, I support people having their own opinions, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think we're all probably on the same page with that. The problem is where you are addressing somebody else's like the shortcomings, or you're trying to like give somebody crap about their beliefs as a means of supporting yours. And that's where it gets that's where it's wrong. When your beliefs and your politics and your stuff begins to tread on somebody else's, that's where it's an issue. That's a fine line to do. And there is a place in this world for political satire in television shows. There is value in that, but you don't want to do it to the extent that you are, again, treading on somebody else. I went off on a political rant. My apologies.
No,
and Brian's here.
Brian who?
Brian Connors.
Oh, Brian Connors. What's
wait?
Going on,
this might be another. This might be another Gary V.
Wait, is this Brian Connors?
BJ might not be Brian Connor. I might have got that wrong. I'm not even drunk, dude.
So, I think I agree with you because I could hear you, but the political thing, it's fine if you want to make it. I don't like how overtly political it was. However, I don't like when they are obviously one-sided with this. That's like the whole problem with everything in media versus everything in social media, you know, with this political divide and shit. After what recently happened, I'm sick of that shit. You know what I mean? This show did cross that line. And for me, when it came to the, we're going to make this obvious one side the bad guys. And it's not just the superheroes. It's everybody that follows them are despicable. It's, you know, that was infuriating. And I can understand everybody who says this season sucked because of that. I agree with that sentiment. I think story-wise, it did have positives, but on the whole, that was really, really fucking annoying. But on the positives, because we're kind of like talking all over the place, I did like the big reveal. For me, was Butcher. Realizing that Kessler was imaginary. That
was good. That was good. And it was good the way that they did it too.
Yeah, with this whole, like, obviously we know from the start that his wife was imaginary because she's dead, right? Poking good, Peter? Arkansas?
that is Brian Connors. He's in Arkansas.
It is Brian Connors. Hey, what's going on, Brian?
I got this one right.
But that we knew that, so I actually wasn't expecting that at all, and I thought that was pretty cool, man. That they did. I
was wondering what was going on.
Obviously, something was up, but yeah, that's cool. And the whole Butcher, the whole Butcher blackout scene was another cool one when he kills Ezekiel.
Mm-hmm.
That is straight up. I'm sure the comics have done that a million times, but it was like in an X-Men comic book. It was one of the coolest scenes in a comic book. Archangel is like he's like being overwhelmed by all these bad guys. And then he blacks out. And then when he wakes up, everybody's dead. And he has no idea what happened. And it's because the wings came out and like killed everybody. Like it was a remnant of Apocalypse.
That's dramatic. And in this circumstance, I appreciate it. However, we have seen lots of circumstances where directors and producers and the money behind these shows, they try to save a buck by jumping through the fight and showing you the aftermath for non-artistic reasons. It's like they're saving a buck. I don't think that was what was happening with this. I don't feel like that because they're not playing those games, too much. They invest money into some good fight scenes. So I don't think that's what's happening.
No.
But if they do it more, then you kind of get one. You don't get to play. You don't get to make that joke again.
Did they do that in this show though? I mean, directors.
I don't think so. I don't think they did.
People using a trope is one thing, but that's not a very common one that I've seen. The whole I don't know. Name another one that they've done it. I couldn't think of. We're like,
I don't remember
know what's going on, but something horrible just happened. It's like the Jaws thing where the barrels pop up in the water and something bad's coming.
Yeah, or not even that something's bad happened. It's just like they skip out on the entire fight and they simply show you the aftermath. They skip the whole thing for quote unquote artistic reasons. And I don't have examples of other times where I've seen that. But the reason I bring that up is I don't remember where I saw that. Well, yeah, I know for a fact it's money. And the thing about it is that there was 4 TV shows in the past 2 weeks where I saw them do that exact same thing. And I don't remember which one it was, but in one of the TV shows, they did it 3 times over the course of a couple of episodes. The same show did it multiple times. And so that's why it stood out to me. When it happened, I was like, oh, God, I've got to sit through, is anybody going to show me a freaking fight scene? And it's not that The Boys was really holding back. They just kind of fell into that time frame that was weird for me. But the other shows doing it is what hit me how often are we going to do? How much money do we have to save? Are you going to invest anything at all in your TV shows?
I mean, I hear that. I didn't see it that way when I watched that scene. I mean, clearly there could have been a big fight, but there was a lot going on in that scene, and it did add, for me, it added to that.
It added to the storyline of, yeah.
I was wondering, because when he took the V, he had completely different superpowers, and that's the one kind of weird thing about this whole season is that he's supposed to be dying of the repercussions of having taken that shit, but it just gave him a completely different power set. I thought that was a little weird. And then it turns out that it's like a Venom. It's like Venom, or you were talking about how shows like to do things similarly, right? I used to have a problem with movies doing the same thing. They had like the same guy designing monsters for movies, and so every movie had the same monster in it. Like the big orb monster in Star Wars looked a lot like the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 had that thing at the beginning where they're fighting. It's like.
That's right. And we talked about that in that last episode. You were saying how the big bad guy thing today is to be a sphere.
Yeah. That kind of weird. That's weird. Somebody was really into spheres, but this, now I'm seeing Stranger Things because it looked exactly like that thing in Stranger Things, the bad guy in the last Stranger Things with all the tentacles coming out of him. It's got to be the same guy saying, oh, I've got this brilliant idea. Tentacles. And they're like, oh, like the thing you did in Stranger Things. Yes, like that. Tentacles.
Or they did it in Resident Evil, and there was out of the mouth. And
the head does the thing, and that's coming.
Nobody except aliens has ever done anything like this.
Stranger Things had that monster. I don't know which came first, the Days of Future Past where they made the Sentinels' heads open up, or Stranger Things where the bad guy's head opens up, or Thor when the bad guy's head opens up.
Resident Evil, everything post Resident Evil 4, I think, is when they started doing the same thing.
Yeah, I get the whole tropes. That's annoying. The Venom thing was... I didn't even think of it as a Venom. I was thinking Stranger Things. And I was talking to Jake, and he was like, oh, yeah, that Venom shit. And I was like, oh, fuck, it is Venom. That's totally what that is. It's like a cross between Archangel and Venom, which is kind of a cool idea. But I'm not buying it though. That scene with Noonan or whatever her name. Yeah, the predator mouth.
Predator mouth, yes.
That's it.
Exactly.
Predator mouth. That scene where he like rips her in half. I was like not buying that. I thought some people are saying that scene felt rushed and that they had to, after the previous weekend's events, they refilmed some shit.
Yeah.
I don't think they refilmed anything. I think they re-edited it, maybe.
They didn't refilm anything. They cut out a few scenes, and they may have like played with the edit a little bit in order to encompass the storyline and make it play through better, where they cut out some assassination attempts or something like that because of it. Yeah, I don't think they cut out anything pertinent. I think that they were just covering their ass, and I don't think we lost anything special with that.
I agree with that. I don't think we really lost. If they did, I don't think we lost anything. But I was just like, the disclaimer and everything was like, oh yeah. I didn't get. I was like, it was obvious, right? It was just like obvious. They got to have that disclaimer with the way that show was going. I don't think they were trying to instigate anything like that. But it is that mentality that has been so prevalent for the past few years. You know, that it's okay to make a TV show where the whole season is about very overt political ideas, and then that happens, and they're like, oh, shit. I don't think they feel like they're part of the problem, but, you know, they're part of the problem. They need that disclaimer. You got any notable moments of this season? I was mentioning that.
Yeah.
That up earlier.
Yeah, God, it was right on the there was gosh dang it, it wasn't a notable moment, but it was a thing, and I have like this mental image. I'm trying to remember what the thing was because it was good, and now I'm drawing a blank. I had it like 30 seconds ago.
Well, maybe this will jog your memory. This is not my favorite scene. This is one of my favorite scenes this season.
Fucking great! Run! Go! Go!
Oh my god.
Fucking flying goats, dude. Who would have thought it? Who would have thunk it?
I laughed about that. But dude, like that dragged on for me. I was so sick of the lamb stuff by the time they were done with it.
Yeah, well, I clipped that pretty short.
But I laughed. I laughed. Yeah.
It went on.
I love that they do stuff like chickens.
That. But that was like, oh, so animals. That's one of the cool things about The Boys is that they do explore ideas. Like, okay, well, superheroes. What would a superhero animal be like? But I was like, I never, you know. It's like kind of one of those things that nerds would sit down and talk about. What if you gave Vito a goat?
Yeah.
Explore that. And I'm like, that's actually, I like that. It's annoying that there were moments in that scene that was annoying. That was actually kind of funny. That's like the goat and Drag Me to Hell. Oh, I haven't seen Drag Me to Hell.
I haven't either, but I'll look it up if they've got like killer goats.
I'm going to go look it up now because that's funny. I've never seen what is it? What is that bunny rabbit from that the holy hand grenade and the bunny rabbit that's like flying in the air?
Yeah, that's where I went with it. Was the holy hand grenade? The scene,
dude.
The scene that got me, and I don't actually. So I don't like the end scene of this whole thing, but the octopus is played by, I don't remember her name, but she's like, they hired. Like, I don't even know. She's an award-winning actress, and it's like, I don't know if she has an Oscar, but I think she's got awards from like being like an actress on stage. Like, she is very highly respected actress in not like Hollywood circles, but in like theater circles. She's like really like respected, and they hired her to play the octopus that likes to do fellatio on the deep.
And
I thought
Tilda
that like
Swinton.
every time, yes. So every time she has to do a line, I see her sitting there being like, "What the fuck am I doing with my life? Why did I agree to like? I can hear the torment in her voice with every line that she delivers.
That was really funny. I didn't even know that until you told me that the other day, and I looked it up, and I was like, that is fucking funny, dude. That the giant warrior woman from Game of Thrones or the silver dude in Star Wars.
Yep.
I don't know whatever that character's name is. I was like, they got her to play the octopus. That's funny. That's actually like straight up. That's like a good boys, move, right?
Yeah, that's one of the things that I love about this show. Like you were talking about with the lambs, the goats, whatever they were, that are flying around. It's like that is the writers. I love the writing behind that kind of scene. That sense of humor I love.
He's gonna kill her agent. Tilda Swinton. I mean, it also shows that she's got a sense of humor. I don't know anything about her. I don't like this lady up, but I like that when a character like Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder when he plays that big oafish agent.
That's another good one. Or Robert Downey Jr. when he played the black man in Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, I wasn't like a big fan of Tom Cruise at the time, but then I saw that scene. I was like, all right, that's funny. He's not like so wrapped up in his image that he can't do like a role like that. And then he did right after that, he did that Live, Die, Repeat, Day After Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Where he dies over and over again, and I was like, all right, I'm Tom Cruise is coming back up. I'm liking it. It's kind of funny. I respect that, and that is funny that they got Tilda Swinton to do a fucking octopus just so they could like make her blow the deep.
Force her, just to force her through those lines of dialogue.
And then put her in a tank in a closet.
Put a line in here
about her own shit.
Yeah, like put a line in there about how he doesn't clean her fish tank and she has to swim in her own like shit.
That was funny. That was like fucking hilarious. All right, there's one other thing that a lot of people were kind of talking about at the beginning, and I agreed because I saw the photos. But I don't know if I agree with it in the end because I didn't see this in the show. Starlight in season 1 is a cute girl. Then she obviously got some work done, and you see this picture.
Can you make that full screen? I can't see it so well. I heard there was a thing about this, but I don't know anything about it.
How's that?
Yeah, that'll work.
So that is a huge difference. Why do people do this? Is the question.
Yeah.
Asks. Hey, Texas Beast, thanks for dropping in, man. He's got to go. You need to go watch the Hot Conservative Redhead with Cleavage. Nice. Which one? Send me the link. But so I'm like, that's pretty rough. And I noticed it in season 2, man. Like, Grant McIntosh, what's going on, bro?
What's up, man?
Guys, we are talking about the boys, this whole season, really. I mean, a little bit of spoilers in the with this last episode, but much better than that. But I gotta say, this is like fucking nuts. But I don't think it was really that bad in the show. Like, this is kind of how she looked in the show. Scared. The whole season.
I noticed she looked a little gaunt. She looked like she had like lost weight or something.
She actually looked better in this season than the was it season 2 when right after she got the work done? She did look a lot like that previous photo, but this season, I don't know what maybe this shit's wearing down and her cheeks don't look quite as crazy, but that was the thing everyone was talking about with her. I would have talked about the fact that she pulled a complete 180 as a character. She's supposed to be like this innocent girl. Now we find out, oh, she's got a past. She actually was a bitch the whole time. And, she has to grow from all that we didn't know about. And she's sad because all these regrets. Her character is just like, I don't know, flipped. Her character flipped.
Yeah, it's the direction they're trying to take her, make her. They're trying to give her the whole human element and stuff like that, sympathy vote stuff. I didn't buy into it too well myself. Like, I never disliked her character, but she does not stand out to me as somebody that's like I'm not being sold on the character arc that they're giving her. I do like that they actually have some fidelity between her and Huey. Like they're sticking around. Like this is, their little romance thing that they're doing is multiple seasons. I like that they're not, like Frenchie on the one hand is flipping around between, everything possible, and other characters are kind of doing the same thing in similar fashion. Like they some of them you have like that girl that's running Vought, who they just took her like way off crazy, and they're trying to take like an opposite approach with Starlight. They're trying to make her more grounded, and I'm like, I'm fine with that. It just doesn't stand out to me. Like I'm just not being sold on it. As far as if they're trying to set up some kind of heart-wrenching breakup with her and Huey, or if they're going to kill her or Huey and they're trying to build us up to that or something, I'm not. Like the acting had better be pretty damn good in that scene, because I'm not being sold on the character enough to care that much.
You saw the way it ended. Like she had to leave because he was getting rounded up, and so she's going to have to come back and save the day.
Yeah, that's not us. That's duh. That doesn't.
You think they're going to break up after all that?
No. So I was thinking about it, and again, we're talking about the story arcs of the characters like Homelander. So from a story arc perspective, one of the problems that you see in a lot of sitcoms and a lot of episodes is you have these couples that really work well together. What happens is they keep them together. Big Bang Theory is a good example. Penny and whatever his name is. So everybody loved having that couple together. They worked there was a lot of chemistry with that. But it's like they held on to that for so long that they had to do things to where they broke up, or they had to implement wrinkles into the relationship in order to keep the storyline going, because otherwise that's the end of the story arc. And it kind of feels like that with this. Have they reached the end of the story arc to where it's like they need to ride off into the sunset and be happy forever? Or are they going to continue with this storyline? And if they are, what's going to be the thing that's, that gives them their trials and tribulations? I thought it was going to be the shapeshifter thing where, he cheats with the shapeshifter. And then they split. I thought that's the direction they were going to go. And maybe next season she's going to have some, she's going to be more emotionally damaged and is just not able to understand. She's not able to accept it and move on. And she's going to have some emotional issues as a result. It doesn't look like that's the direction they're going. And if it's not, then what is going to be the tribulations that they're giving these two characters to keep them relevant in the series?
I think that's lazy writing when they do that in shows. When they make
do too.
When they make them have to go through a breakup because it's, what are we going to do with them? Oh, how about you develop that relationship and make them both go through stuff? Now they're almost like a single character that you can put through some shit instead of having.
The thing is, it gets old and boring.
I don't think it does. If you were to have them as a couple, as a single character, and then have them go through shit, I don't think that gets boring. The excitement of them being together and getting together is gone. But then there's the whole concept of like, where can they go from here? I did like the shapeshifter thing. That was cool, and I actually liked they gave her the ability to like get memories and everything else, because what good is looking like somebody if you can't actually? And so that was kind of cool. And the ripping the skin off was pretty fun.
It was I thought that was actually like a good take. That's one of the things The Boys does really well, is a good take on what the superpower actually is versus how it's been portrayed in previous iterations. I do like that they did that. I like some of the nuance.
If they were going to break up, they'd have done it right then when she confronted him about it. Now she's like, she's got to come back to save him. They're not going to rehash this shit. That's going to be the thing that brings them together. And I doubt they're even going to do a season 6 at this point. I don't know. Maybe they will, but season 5, I think they're going to come back together, and I think they're going to get married for real this time. And I think that's how their characters are going to go.
I hope that that's. I'm not going to say I hope that we're able to predict on the thing, because I don't. But I hope that they don't go through some of the more generic options that are available with this.
Well, sure. I mean, but after this season, they did pick a lot of generic, lazy options. Although
Yeah.
I did like the show on the whole, like just like Black Sails, I do like that show on the whole. I just hate a lot of the. There's like half that show I could just throw away, but the other half I think is really good. This season, because the other seasons they've been all right, really good. First season, second season, meh. Third season, kind of weird. This season, it's like a split, but it does have good stuff in it. Now I'm still liking it, and I see people like, oh, it's complete dog shit because it has a few things that I completely disagree with, and therefore it's complete garbage. I'm not on that. I think this show's still got some merit to it. Not merit, but it's got some worth watching moments.
Yeah, it's not turning me off. I'll be around for it. It's not turning me off. I'm not like even the political stuff. I'm. It has not reached a point where I'm like, man, fuck this. I'm open enough. Like I said, like I'm not clutching my pearls about like some of the jokes they're making. Some of them I feel like are like tasteless, but it's like not so much more than putting Adam Man in the dick, or like.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say I do like I like their approach to the Spider-Man character.
Oh my god, there's so much to talk
done.
about with this whole. There was so much that I wanted to talk about, but I wasn't sure we were going to have time to talk about it. That Web Weaver, holy crap, dude, that was funny. Like Huey wearing the suit was like, that's weird for Huey. Like, that's a weird thing that I don't think he would have put himself in. But the scene with Web Weaver and Homelander was fucking hilarious. He's like shitting web all over the wall every time he gets scared. That was funny.
It was funny
Anyway.
that, again, the way that they portray these superpowers, like in Spider-Man, it's always like he can shoot it out his wrist, and then he can aim that thing, stuff like that. But it's like, oh, like if you actually like have some kind of arachnid power, you're probably going to do it like right there by your ass, just like a spider. Now that's been done. Venture Brothers made the same joke, but still.
Oh, they did? I don't remember that one, Venture Brothers.
Yeah.
Was that a later season?
Yeah, probably. I think it was like season 4 or something like that on Venture Brothers, where there's an episode where the boys go to live or Dean or whatever goes to live in New York, runs into the Spider-Man character of theirs, and a real similar approach. He's not a drug addict and stuff like that, which was also a funny one, for the boys to do.
Yeah. Well, I'm still looking forward to the next season, and I'm going to keep reading the comic book because the comic book is completely different. There's elements that they could still use in the show, but man, they've deviated from it so much that the way they deal with Homelander in the comic book is no way going to happen in this show. So I'm curious to see how they deal with that, and I don't think it's going to be Butcher's new super killing Venom thing, because that was a plot hole in my opinion. Like, they can't kill this girl with a bullet, but now he's got this super strength tentacles that can do it. Like, I didn't buy it. I thought that was kind of lazy.
I had a hard time with that one too. That seems to me like one of those where it's like, oh, like they built it up. He's got superpowers. It's coming. Can't wait to see that ultimate showdown between him and Homelander. And now when we see the powers, I'm like, well, who are you bringing to back you up, boy? Because that ain't gonna cut it.
I mean, even if it does, it's just like shitty. It'd be real shitty if it is, and it's got to be Butcher. Like, Butcher's the one with the vendetta. It's got to be him, right? I mean, I don't know who else it could be, but I guess we'll find out.
He's got to have a hand in it. And he needs to have a hand in it, and he needs to beat him with wits, not the superpower. That really needs to be an element.
The end credit scene. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
They're bringing back Soldier Boy. Spoilers. Yeah. And so everybody's going to have a hand in taking out Homelander. And I bet you what they're going to do is they're going to have everybody have a hand in taking out Homelander, and then realize, well, he's not really the big threat. Or maybe they're going to do like...
Oh, I hope not. Oh, I hope they don't do that Game of Thrones bullshit.
Maybe Homelander could be redeemed. I don't know. Or maybe he would. I don't know. But I think that's where they're going to go. It's going to be a flip. Like, everybody comes together to get Homelander, and then there's going to be this reason why either that doesn't work or they need to keep him alive or something stupid.
He's got it like some of the, and I don't even see anybody that matters. Like, I would think like the ultimate goal would be to turn some of the 7 against him. Like, you would need that, except that if you look at the 7 that he has, they're all worthless. It's just Homelander and a bunch of B-teamers. Like,
A-Train's not too bad. And I like that they made
he's
him
not on the 7 anymore. He ran off.
Oh, that's right. I hope he comes back because I like what they did with his character this season. He was a good character development in this season.
I would say he's got the best development.
He's actually probably got one of the best storylines, out of all the characters, because he was essentially what started this whole thing. And now his character, his
conflictions are real. Like, you feel the conflict in his character.
Yeah, and
I don't feel that much for Starlight. I don't feel the conflict there.
I don't care about Starlight. I like Butcher and I like A-Train. I like Homelander as a character. I think it's a cool idea, but he is kind of getting tiresome with that.
You know how he got that role? He didn't try out for it. They offered it, or they told him they wanted him, and he didn't want it. So he sent them an audition, and his audition was just like, he didn't give a shit in the audition tape that he filmed and sent to him. So when they saw it, they're like, yes, this is exactly what Homelander is. He doesn't give a shit. This is the guy that we want.
And so he's like, all right, I guess. He's a good actor. He's a good actor for that role. He does have that look on his face. It's like, and then, I don't know. I don't get the milk thing. I keep hearing it's like a thing. I don't remember what show I was watching where somebody was like, well, then they're talking about it and they're like, oh, and the milk thing, because conservatives with the milk thing, and I'm like looking at what's the milk thing?
I don't know of
something I'm not aware of. There's no milk thing. What the hell are you talking about? Anyways, it's fun. That was a fun season. I am looking forward to the next one.
I am too.
But
curious to see what direction they go with it, how they tie up some of the loose ends, and how the characters are better because of the turmoil, whatever the case is.
I like that Butcher's back in business, because this whole season and even last season, he's just kind of dragging his feet. But
I didn't like Mopey Butcher.
I don't like Mopey Butcher either. Like
I don't know if I like Over the Top Butcher. I don't know that I like him now as like the soup. Like, I liked it when he was a part of the boys, when he's part of the group. I liked it when he's like a little bit more smart. Now I think he's traded some of that in. We'll see. I hope. I do like Over the Top Butcher. Look at everyone else in that show is over the top. And whatever their thing is, they're over the top with it. I think I like his kind of over the top. But anyways, man, it was good talking to you on this whole thing, and I had a blast. There's so much more to cover on this show. Maybe we'll mention it again in another stream or something, like any more developments or thoughts that pop in our heads. But they kick off a new season. We'll do a kickoff episode.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Maybe like episode reviews or something.
Yeah, predictions
maybe by then
or
we'll
something.
be doing like Thursday specials or some shit like that. Yeah, or predictions where we like watch and review. That'd be cool. Gotta find a good show to do that with. I've been in it From, and that show is supposedly coming out with a new season.
I love From.
Hey, take it easy, Grant. Thanks for stopping in, man. In fact, thanks everybody for who stopped in today, and everybody who's watches it on the replay. Thanks for joining me, Stanley. This has been a fun talk. We'll have to continue this another time. But until then, I guess I'll see you next time.
Catch you later, guys.
Later.
Now get out! And I'll tell you when I want you back! Ah!